Hello and welcome to the Newcastle Fan Channel, a channel that deals with everything Newcastle United. I haven't been on for a few days, few weeks, so I thought I'd talk about Steve Bruce. Don't know where to start with this. I feel it's a really lazy appointment. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but he's resigned from Sheffield Wednesday. I think for me with Steve Bruce, he's always been linked with the Newcastle job. And he is a Geordie. He said that he's always wanted it. I think when Sir Bobby left, that was originally when they saw him as a potential successor. For me, looking at what he's done over his career, so if we go through every club that he's managed, obviously he's managed he's managed Crystal Palace. He did a good job, but then he left. He's managed Birmingham City. Again, did pretty well. Got some promotions, was relegated as well. So Birmingham. Villa, for me, obviously, it's fine margins. They lost to a playoff final. However, the follow-up season, I feel he really underachieved, though he had some financial issues at the time. Wigan and Hull, again, he's done kind of solid jobs there, I would say. So probably the two where you'd probably be like he didn't really achieve was Villa and Sunderland. For me, Villa is a similar size club to Newcastle in terms of its big club in a city. And he really struggled with the pressure in that second year. He had a lot of personal circumstances as well, to be fair, with the passing away of both his parents in a short period of time, which is difficult for anyone. As a person, I don't have an issue with Steve Bruce. He seems like a nice guy. As a manager, I don't really know what would be the target for him. It's really difficult to get motivated by it. I think as well, I said that going from Rafa Benitez to Steve Bruce is a bit like going from a Ferrari to a Lada. I mean, I think that's a bit harsh on Steve Bruce because he has done solid jobs before. He knows the league. He's got Premier League experience. However, I just think it's a very lazy appointment. I don't think he's done anything massively at Sheffield Wednesday. And I've also got an issue with his loyalty generally. It seems to me for Steve Bruce that he did it at Palace where he got obviously offered the Birmingham job and he jumped ship straight away. He did it with when he went to Villa, and he's done it here where it seems to me if he gets a better option, he'll very quickly try and make his way. And that might be harsh, and people might feel that's a bit harsh for him. But I think, for me, one of the big issues for me with him is a bit of loyalty, that he doesn't actually have that much loyalty. I think he knows he's coming into a firestorm, and I think he knows that it's going to be difficult. And I think anyone who took over Rafa would always struggle. I think we've struggled when we lost Kevin Keegan, and we struggled when we lost to Bobby Robson, and I think we're going to struggle now with Rafa. For me, Rafa's probably the third best manager in my lifetime. I think that it's going to be very difficult for him. I don't know if he knows what he's letting himself in for with Mike Ashley. I wish he would. I really do hope he does his due diligence because he's leaving a good solid club in Sheffield Wednesday to come to us. Because you've seen the comments from Rafa where he said he's had more meetings in a week with Dalian Zifang in China than he had in 3 years at Newcastle. So the other thing which I think a lot of managers don't like about managing Newcastle is that you do tend to be the only figurehead for the club. As in, everything goes through the manager. I think Pardew started to dislike the role because he was getting blamed for off-the-field stuff. And I think Rafa didn't like the role because he felt like he was the only one who was making comments. He couldn't get meetings and he couldn't really feel any progress. I don't really know what Steve Bruce is hoping to achieve. I think he probably just wants to manage his hometown club, which I think any Newcastle fan, we can't resent him for that, because if we were in that position, we probably want to do it as well. What is the limit? I think, to be honest, the only hope we've got is to avoid relegation this year. I think if you look at the squad, we've lost Kennedy, Perez, Diarmi, Joselu. It's not much of a loss, let's be honest. We've lost Rondon. So we've lost quite a few players, and until the manager gets appointed, we don't really know what's going to be coming in. I think as well, a big thing for us will be that Rafa is not here. So we lose his kind of talent scouts, his knowledge of the game, his knowledge of the foreign market. You know, he did some really good, clever deals with the likes of Dubravka, Shah. We don't have that anymore. So we're going to be relying on Steve Bruce. It's going to be tricky, I've got to be honest. I think it's going to be very, very difficult. I think another thing which has come out is supposedly Steve Bruce is accepting the head coach role rather than, you know, he has control over transfers and everything, which again, I can only see ending in disaster. I think Steve Bruce probably thinks he'll be okay with it originally, but I can't see him being okay with it because we've seen it before, like where the club is signing players that we don't need, and then, you know, the club is signing players we don't need, and then we're crying out. Like, I just remember that 2016 season, we were crying out for a defender. We really needed a centre back because Colaccini was on his last legs. We had Mbemba, Lascelles wasn't quite ready, and we really needed another centre half, and we didn't go and get one. And I think that's the problem with those types, that they don't address the team. They just go, okay, that player's a good player, rather than what the team needs. And I think that's where a manager comes in. A manager is obviously working with the squad constantly, knows the squad, and I think that's what Rafa did. Rafa identified, I need this type of player. I need, you know, he worked and realised, you know, a couple of seasons ago, goalie, we're weak goalkeeper. We had actually a good squad of goalkeepers. He's like, no, I need a bit of extra quality, and went and got one. So yeah, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for us. I mean, it's going to be difficult for Steve Bruce with the fans. Rumours are that season ticket renewals are obviously very down. Lots and lots of fans have not renewed, which means that there's going to be a lot more empty seats. So what do you guys think of the Steve Bruce appointment? For me, it's a thumbs down. I'm a bit disappointed. No issue with Steve Bruce himself. Going to give him a chance like everyone else. I think he's coming to a really poisoned chalice. I think he's going to find it really hard working against the players, working against Mike Ashley, with all this takeover talk, which has died down, let's be honest now. It has died down quite a bit. So what do you guys think? What do you think of the Steve Bruce appointment? Let me know.